We're in California Adventure today to take you on a guided tour around DCA. A practical guide on how we navigate the parks, our favorite places to go, some of our tips and tricks on how to best handle rides and attractions and shows, and basically show you how we approach DCA. And we'll be starting right here, of course, at Buena Vista Street, the beginning of your California adventure. Some would argue that they shouldn't call it that anymore, because there's not a lot of California left in this park, but let's talk about that actually for a second. We're gonna wind it back. I'm gonna back up and take you back to the entrance or so, because one of the things that they did when they updated this park back in 2012, I wanna say it was, DCA 2.0, it all starts right here at the entrance. They changed the gates at the main entrance. These are the Hollywood Studios gates. Same thing there. And then they've redone Buena Vista Street as well. This used to be a completely different aesthetic, and what they were going for here is to sort of mimic Disneyland a little bit. This first little courtyard here is very much supposed to be a town square type situation. I think they're not going to say that explicitly, I don't believe, but that was what they're going for, is sort of a warm reception into the park, and then a Main Street type walk down Buena Vista Street. We are in 1920s Hollywood, the time and place when Walt arrived here in Hollywood to begin his historic life in Hollywood, making animated films and eventually these theme parks. And so that's where you're 1920s Hollywood, and all this was put in the last, since 2012. It used to be more, California themed. You had the guys, do you remember? You may not. There was the train right here, and you could get your snacks and whatever your opening day. Or hi, there's Molly the Messenger. She was also brand new to this park, starting in 2012, adding to that theme, and she has been a delight here ever since then. But yeah, a lot of what they're trying to do in this first walk, the same thing what they're trying to do at Disneyland. I'm going to keep making that mistake today, aren't I? Is to create sort of a hub and spoke. That would be the hub at Disneyland. Today it's Carthay Circle, Carthay Fountain. Carthay Circle is the location of where they had the Snow White premiere, and this is the hub, and you can go in different directions from this point. Heading into Hollywood that way. To the right takes you to Grizzly Peak. It would have been Condor Flats back in the day. Or you can go straight ahead down the parade quarter, deeper into the park, towards Paradise Pier and all that. Pixar Pier. It was Paradise Pier in 2011. Today, in 2025, it is Pixar Pier. We'll choose our adventure in just a minute, but a few more things that I want to observe. Buena Vista Street is where you do a lot of your shopping here. You've got the bridge right there. That is for the monorail. The monorail passes by there. That is supposed to be, I would say, a callback or a symmetry with the Disneyland Railroad. You've also got this statue. This is the storyteller statue with Walt and Mickey, another nod to the hub where they have the partner statue at the hub, but rather than have it there at Carthay Fountain, they've got it over here on the side. But you could see the sense that when they redid DCA back in 2012, over the years that they took to do that, their goal was to make it feel a little bit more like Disneyland. That was probably the main issue that a lot of people had with Disneyland 1 or DCA 1.0, was how unalike it was to Disneyland. It's something that has taken me a long time to understand and realize what the point was. I was with that group way back when, where I'm like, gosh, I really don't like DCA. I don't like Paradise Pier because it was kind of, we'll get into that when we get there, but it was kind of like the opposite of what, Walt was trying to avoid boardwalk type attractions in his park. He wanted to do something different from that, better than that. So he built Disneyland, and then they go and build DCA, which is a boardwalk or Paradise Pier. I misunderstood, and I appreciate DCA better for what it is today. than I did back in the day, and today I have a much different, much more favorable view on things. But I, pointing that out because we're, at the outset, it's a very different experience that you find today than you did back then. But let's talk about more so, like I said, our impressions on how we navigate DCA. So once again, hub and spoke. We're in the hub. Spoke goes that way to Hollywood, down the parade corridor towards Pixar Pier, or towards Grizzly Peak, formerly Condor Flats. And I think that's the direction we're going to go today. By the way, Starbucks for you guys right there. That's the Fiddler Pfeiffer Practical Cafe. If you ever get confused, what is the Fiddler Pfeiffer Practical Cafe? It's Starbucks. Just like the Market House became Starbucks on Main Street, same thing here, although it didn't become. They built it. Fiddler, Pfeiffer, and Practical are the names of the three pigs and the three little pigs. That was absolutely news to me when I heard it for the very first time. I'm like, I didn't even know those pigs had names. First stop on the right is Smoke Jumpers Grill, formerly Taste Pilots. They just started serving breakfast. What time is it? Is it breakfast time still? Yeah, it's 11:38, so they might still be serving breakfast. Oh, until 10:30. French toast, awesome. The breakfast sandwich, awesome. The classic breakfast burrito, thumbs up. During lunch, it's burgers and chicken and things of that nature. It's standard fare. They don't get too creative here, but I wish they would sometimes. I do think, though, that I'm probably going to have to check out that blue cheeseburger. That's another video, perhaps. Stay tuned to Fresh Bake for that. We do try it as much of the new food as possible here. So if you're new to the show, as you're watching this, that is a thing that we'll do. Let's keep going. Right next to Smoke Jumpers Grill is Soarin' over California. Right now it's Soarin' over California while we're doing Food and Wine Festival, and then it'll turn into Soarin' Around the World, which is the same show that they do at Walt Disney World at Epcot. This is a difficult attraction to navigate. There's no shortcuts here. You pretty much are gonna, there's a lot of ways that you can sort of measure the queue and kind of spot how things are gonna be shorter or longer than what the posted wait time might be. But Soarin', for the most part, is what it is. It's posted at 35 right now. But what you're looking for here is you're trying to keep this queue right here into the first half. If they go out in the second half back there around the building or even around the corner, that's when things get a little hairy. But it's one of the more difficult attractions to navigate with respect to finding shortcuts, finding breaks, finding discounts. It's just so hard to tell. You don't know what you're gonna get. When you get here, you can look at a queue in a lot of places that the queue's invisible and you can spot it. Can't see most of that queue. There goes the monorail. That monorail does not stop here in the park. A lot of folks ask why not, because it is an indoor, it's an attraction at Disneyland and not outside the gates like it is at Walt Disney World, where all the stops at Walt Disney World on the monorail are outside the gates. The first stop here is inside Tomorrowland, so that means you have to create another gate. You have to check people's tickets if they were to stop here in DCA, so it does not. But it does go through the Grand California, which is kind of fun. It would be cool if it could stop there as well, but it's just like a few hundred feet from the downtown Disney entrance. The track is not big enough to warrant a third stop, I guess really is the main thing. But again, that might be a story for another video. Grizzly River Run on our left, fantastic. They just recently, how's it going? They just recently turned these geysers on. They were out of commission for quite a while. Perfect day today right now for a Grizzly River Run adventure. But you can see they've got some geysers over here where they splash water up. Oh, there it goes. Yep. They got that one there. There goes another one. Amazing. This is one of my favorite places to be in DCA, is on this trail, Grizzly Peak Trail, because of the atmosphere and the aesthetic that you get, which I'll take you back that way. This is kind of a hidden gem, a hidden little piece of joy. Before we go there, though, I will show you this. It's closed right now, but this is an alternate entrance and exit to DCA, or from DCA, to or from the Grand California. And that is, they're redoing the entrance here to put in new scanners. That is the Grand Californian, obviously, right there. So if you're a guest at the Grand California, you're basically inside the park, which is kind of neat. That's not a common thing for Disneyland hotels, to be in the park such as they are. I think the only other park is Disneyland Paris that does that, if I'm not mistaken. You can keep going down that path that I was just showing you, or you can make a left here into Grizzly River Run, it looks like you're going into the queue or into the backside of the attraction, but it does go all the way around, and I love it. Actually, before we do that, let's talk first about getting into this attraction. It's a warm day today. It's going to be over the 80s, so this is going to be a very popular location. Right now it's just 35 minutes, so it's not too bad. But just like Soarin, not a lot of discounts here except for weather. The weather is the discount. If you don't mind going on a cold or slightly cold day, then you're gonna have a better shot of getting in there in a quick time. But the warmer it gets, the more popular this attraction gets. First thing you want to look for when you get here is to see if there's any guests in this roped off area right here. This is the lightning lane entrance, and if this is empty, that's a pretty good sign. That's pretty good for you. It means you won't have to be competing with them, at least. You're just gonna be competing with standby. I will say, so far we're 2 for 2 on attractions that are difficult to get brakes on. I will say, if you're on the fence about whether or not to get a lightning lane, DCA it's almost mandatory here. If you're trying to not wait more than 45 minutes or an hour in an attraction, all of the good attractions here are on lightning lane. Every single one. The attractions that are not are some of the less even the less popular ones, like Little Mermaid, is on lightning lane. I'm trying to think, like the attractions over there on the pier, the jellyfish and the swinging, Silly Symphony swings, that kind of stuff. Vader's is not on lightning lane, nor is Luigi's. But anything that is even remotely popular will be on lightning lane, and it's very difficult to beat lightning lane when it's a busy day. I guess that's a long way of saying you might want to invest in it here. It's probably a good idea. This is just absolutely spectacular where we are right now. We've made that left, by the way. There's the Grizzly Peak Trail right there. We've made the left. I'm showing you the backside to kind of give you an idea of what to look for if you're trying to see if you want to get into that standby queue. What's a bad queue? This queue hasn't gotten bad yet because these ropes have not been filled. If the guests are in here, that's not a good sign. Over here is pretty standard on that bridge, and in that section over there, that's pretty standard. And then as things get into what I call the office, if you're into the office, that you're looking at a pretty good sized wait. It's posted at 35. I would say you're probably going to hit that number if there's no lightning lane influence. But the deeper you get into the office, the longer your wait is going to be, obviously. But being here on this trail right now and then talking about this queue is one of the reasons why I love coming here and why this is a very enjoyable queue to be in, because in most places where you're at, you get to feel and see and hear all the different water effects that are happening. You're in close proximity to waterfalls and rafts going by. It's a very delightful queue to be in. And then that's if you're looking to your left. See if I can get my camera right. Up here on the right, you get to see where the vehicle's board, where the raft's board, which will take you around. But this path does go all the way through. There's the grizzly as we speak. I always thought he looked like a wolf, but that's a grizzly. All right, that's basically one of the icons of DCA. You can come back here and just get a little chill, feel a little vibe, and watch the rafts get boarded and take off. But that's the view you get on the right side of the office over there. This is really enjoyable, you guys, and it makes me wish I was on this attraction right now. I don't get on enough because I always want to film it, and I don't want to film strangers if I can help it, because you're always pointing the camera right at somebody when I do that. I got to bring Liz over here. Maybe we'll do that soon. And then here's the first lift. The rafts are coming up to start their adventure up on the mountain, up on the hill there, and that's where all the rapids that you find on this attraction are up there in that space. It's just wonderful. I absolutely love this space. It's an achievement in design, imagineering, fun. It's absolutely the best. Try not to wait for the perfect weather to get on this attraction, because you're gonna get wet. I will say that. There are multiple spots where you will get wet, but on a day like today, you're gonna dry off quickly. So we've come around the other side from Grizzly Peak Trail, which we should probably backtrack a little bit. I guess I can't show you. Maybe I'll have some B-roll that I can share with you, but up ahead, you can see Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. It's closed right now. But I absolutely love Redwood Creek for a variety of reasons, but mostly, well, two mostly. One is that it's very peaceful, it's very quiet. You can just kind of walk back there. It is for kids. It's a place that's for kids, for them to run around and play. There's nothing in there for an adult to do specifically, other than it's as close as you're going to get here at DCA to communing with nature. But it can be very peaceful outside of the hustle and bustle of the kids running around. But I love just walking through there. But I alluded to the other one with the kids. This is a place, the kind of place that actually does not exist at Disneyland. It's a place just for, guys, it's a place just for kids to run around and play. I can't think of what Tom Sawyer Island is the closest that you're gonna get to something like this at Disneyland, but you gotta get on a raft and kind of make your way over there. But here you can just kind of walk by and casually make your way in there. You could just quickly do Redwood Creek in 10 or 15 minutes on your own, just walking through, or take your family in there. You can spend an hour in there with your kids if you want. There's probably a half dozen little things that they can do, from rock walls to climbing on the rope bridges. There's a zip line, slides. It's a rope. The rope things is great. If you've never been or aren't sure what Redwood Creek Challenge Trail is, and you have kids, I encourage you to bring them here. And you could actually even sort of take a break. You could sit down while they run around, because there's only one way in and one way out right there. And you can even post yourself right there at the exit, and you can actually let your kids run around for an hour in there. It'd be great. And then as we exit Grizzly Peak Trail, again, that you keep going in that direction, and you can go around the way we started this on the backside of Grizzly River Run, or you could turn right and head towards Paradise Bay. Well, I guess, do they call it Paradise Bay? I guess there's still Paradise Garden over there on the right. So maybe it is still Paradise Bay. I think it is. Try to see if we can't make our way through this crowd. On our right, that building right there, that is Ariel's Undersea Adventure. There are 2 attractions here, at least 2, that I consider to be automatic go. Just if you're ever not sure what to do, hit one of those 2 attractions. This is one of them. There's never a bad time to get on Ariel's Undersea Adventure. Main entrance here, and while there are varying degrees of crowd densities and how long it could take, I think it's posted right now at 20 minutes. Even if it's posted at 30 or 40, it's still a relative discount to whatever else you're gonna find in the park. If this queue is 40, that means it's a busy day in the park in general, and you're gonna find a bunch of difficulty getting on all those attractions out there. So this will always be the relatively cheaper option in terms of time and effort spent waiting in the queue, and it's also delightful. I'm a sucker for dark rides of any kind, and that's always my fallback. It's always a dark ride. Fantasyland, and there's not enough of these actually. This really is. There's this and Radiator Springs Racers as dark rides go. I guess this is it. But there you see the Little Mermaid queue. This is a very nominal queue that's out here right now, which again, I'm kind of surprised that it's this light right now, considering the temperature. This is always a place to go to get out of the heat. It's kind of gone down there into the little under the sea section that I call back there, but it's pretty nominal. This is a very brisk moving queue. You will never stop moving. You'll keep going here no matter what, and that's the best part about dark rides and Omnimover style loading systems, is that there's constant movement. You never really feel like you're stuck in the queue. And we mentioned the hub and spoke at the opening of this show, the Carthay Fountain, comparing that to the hub and spoke set up at Disneyland. Disneyland is set up, although over the years it's gotten a little bit more convoluted, but the original system was very perfect. It was just a circle, spoke, 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 and I mean there were dead ends, but there was kind of just one way to go. You keep going in that direction, or you come back the way you came. There weren't a lot of alternate paths. They have that here. They have a hub and spoke at Carthay, but things do get considerably more convoluted. That's why I'm taking you back to the entrance here of Little Mermaid. Brought you back here because as we're leaving Grizzly Peak, that's Grizzly River Run right there, Little Mermaid to your right. We've arrived at another junction point in the park. This is a second sort of hub, as it were, where you can go left and you can head towards Cars Land, Avengers Campus, and Hollywood down that direction. You can go straight through there is Pixar Pier. That's how you get to all those attractions back there, Toy Story, Midway, Mania, Incredicoaster, and the Pixar Pal Around. Or you can turn right, and that takes you towards Paradise Garden, and some of the few lone standby attractions, the Golden Zephyr up ahead, as well as Jumpin' Jellyfish and the Silly Symphony swings. You turn left over here, and it would be a little bit difficult to get your way back here. You have to kind of retrace your steps, but if you turn right, you can make a loop around the Paradise Lagoon. I forget, Paradise Bay or whatever they call it, well, that's what we're doing. We're turning right to make a loop around. We'll follow this path. This is part of the parade corridor, and this path will curve to the left, go around over there towards the Incredicoaster tracks and behind Pixar Palaround. And there again is Little Mermaid on our right. This area, this space here at DCA is much more wide open, far less dense than it is at Disneyland. There are more attractions here per square foot, or at Disneyland, way more than there are here at DCA. And part of that reason is because of this space that we're gonna pause here and take a look. This is Paradise Bay. That's the bay, whatever. There, this is, I love that this space exists right here. There's no attractions, no food. There's nothing here except for a place for people to stand, sit, or relax. This is an attraction by itself, in my opinion, is watching all of this happen right here. Are you kidding me? Watching the Golden Zephyr, the Jumpin' Jellyfish, there goes the Silly Symphony swings, they're swinging. Vehicles constantly on the track, the Incredicoaster, you're hearing people scream. On that ride, you hear them scream. I never appreciated the sound of screams more than as I started to appreciate DCA more. And what they nailed this. They absolutely nailed. This is one of the reasons why I've sort of come around on DCA for a variety of reasons, but this is one of the main ones. It's just what they've created here is completely singular for any Disney theme park. There's nothing like this. There really is nothing like this at any other Disney theme park. Certainly nothing like this at Disneyland. So I highly encourage people, if you're unsure whether or not you want to go to DCA, or if you go and you're not sure what you want to do, just stand here. Just stand here and take in what they've built for you, and I think you'll enjoy it. Get yourself a drink, maybe a corn dog or a pretzel or something like that. They're right over there. We'll take you over there. I'll show you where to get them. It's very close, and just enjoy. Before we wrap up this conversation, if you're wondering, will this remain? Yeah, it will. For as long as they're doing World of Color out here in this bay, that's what this was built for. This is actually a stadium. It doesn't look like it, but it is. This is where all the guests who are going to watch World of Color, they've built a stadium, basically, and then it happens here twice nightly out there in the Paradise Bay, and it's absolutely delightful. It's wonderful. And getting back to an earlier point we made, this corridor here is much wider than any space you'll find at Disneyland. They've really kept things wide open here. I think they had to. You're just never going to build a theme park as narrow as they built Disneyland for code reasons. I mentioned food and wine, you guys. That's happening right now. These booths are typically not here. This is usually empty space. Just pointing that out for those of you who are unsure what you're seeing. If you see booths like that along the way, those are temporary, not part of the usual show. Seaside Souvenirs, place to get souvenirs by the seaside. Corn Dog Castle, I have rated this the #1 place to get a corn dog at the Disneyland Resort because of the proximity of the fryer in which they cook the corn dogs. The fryer is literally right behind the cast member who takes your order. It's right there on the other side of that glass. Whereas, let's say the corn dog cart in Disneyland, over there by Plaza Inn, the fryer in that one is in the kitchen of the plaza. They have to bring them out in a cart, so by the time it gets there, who knows how fresh they are. A little less so at the Golden Horseshoe, where that's the kitchen where they cook it for the Stage Door Cafe. But this is the closest proximity you're gonna get. It's the best corn dog by a degree. Our adventure continues. Next door is Goofy Sky School. It's what they call a wild mouse coaster. They go back and forth in little quick loops. It's terrifying if you have a fear of heights or fear of falling out. It's one of the scariest rides you'll ever be on. Right there, see they're gonna snap back right there. If you're on the outside seat on that one, it's absolutely terrifying. It makes me freak out every time I go on it. It's a popular attraction here. It usually has a pretty good sized wait. We'll just pop in real quick and see if I can give you some landmarks. What you're it's not enough to look at the posted wait time, guys. If you watch our shows, our State of DCA reports and stuff like that, you'll hear me talk about that a lot. It's not enough to just look at the posted wait time and see, as it said here, 30 minutes. You have to also compare that to what your eyeballs show you. for example, I could be here and it'll say 30 minutes and that queue would be half the size. And it'll still say 30 minutes. So what is correct? Which one is 30? I don't know. Well, actually I do. This is not. I laugh because I was saying I don't know, but I mean I actually do. Hey guys, how are you? If you're new to the show, one of our specialties is being able to eyeball a queue and look at a queue and say, that is what it is said to be, or we can even tell you how many minutes it actually is with reasonable accuracy. And when all these pens are full like it is right now, and you have any kind of action going on in Lightning Lane, you're looking at least 30 minutes. That's at least 30 minutes, probably more. One thing you want to avoid if you get here, if you can, is being out here in what I call the garden. Try not to be out here. They're about ready to burst this, actually. This is pretty full. If this queue starts to get out into the walkway there, which it's very close to doing, that's the back of the queue right there, they'll start sending guests into the garden here. But I do recommend this attraction. It's fun. I mean, this park is full of what they call off the rack attractions, out of the box attractions that are built somewhere else and they just install it here. It's not a difficult thing to build, like a custom attraction, like a roller coaster, or I don't know how to put it, but you see these kinds of rides, jumping jellyfish, Symphony Swing, wild mouse coasters at theme parks or amusement parks all over the world. They're mass produced, as it were, I guess. They're basic. That has become a point of, I don't know, debate for theme park fans. They're like, DC's got too many of those. There's no theming. You can't theme that ride. It's difficult to theme, some of this other stuff. But I think that's the whole point, is that the theme is, it's a boardwalk type park. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. Have a good one. That's the part that I've gotten used to, is that's the whole idea. That's the part, that this is a boardwalk type land. Paradise Garden, or Pixar Pier is, which we haven't gotten to yet. What we're walking through right now is Paradise Garden, and this is home to two wonderful dining locations, both in terms of the food that they serve and in the aesthetic, the environment that is provided for you here. This first one that we're approaching is Paradise Garden Grill. This menu changes with the seasons. It changes with the events. If they're doing a food and wine or a festival holidays or something like that, the menu changes often. Right now it is Mexican inspired, I believe. Yeah, you've got the El Pastor tacos, the esquites loaded chips, a huarache, and pescado. Yeah, it's so very Mexican inspired. That menu changes. Hi, oh, thank you. That menu changes a lot, and usually for the good. They hardly ever miss at Paradise Garden. We're gonna go right next door to Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, where the menu here doesn't change very often. The only thing that they ever hear or change here usually is they'll provide a specialty. There's a lot of fans out today. A specialty pizza, a slice of pizza here. They'll do something, for the whatever festival is happening or whatever season is happening. Pasta on your left, you can see the big popcorn light saying pasta. Pizza down the middle. Pizza. Let's take a look. We just recently had this guy, the smoked Hawaiian pizza. That's a festival holiday dish. There's your standard pepperoni, by the slice. You can actually buy a whole pie if you want. And then on the right, you've got salads. You've got entree salads or side salads. One of the ones that I do enjoy is the Italian chef salad. Getting food at Disneyland in general, be that here at DCA or at Disneyland, can be a challenge sometimes, especially if you don't want to get bothered by mobile order. They do offer it here at both Boardwalk and at Paradise Garden, which I recommend doing if you can. But if you don't, this specifically, Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta is an excellent choice for those who just want, you're hungry and you want to go somewhere, you're not sure what to do, you come here. You're never going to get disappointed either by the food or by the wait. For example, it is 12:24 right now, high noon. This is the peak time to be getting lunch at Disneyland, and we've got, 5 guests in here getting food right now? Hardly anybody here. It's always quiet, and I can't figure it out. I can't figure out why this place isn't more busy. You take the comparable location over at Disneyland, Alien Pizza Planet, the place is busy all day. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but I tell you this much, I'm going to take this moment right now. I'm going to get me something to eat, and we're going to take a break and get back to the show in just a minute. And then best of all, you get to take that meal out here in this wonderful little dining area, catch a live show at most times of the day, and enjoy a pretty good meal. We're having the 4-cheese roasted garlic chicken pasta. Cheers, Fresh Baked.
That's apple juice, just so you all know.
And when you're done, step out and find yourself another one of those off-the-shelf rides like Jumpin' Jellyfish. What you're looking for here is both sides operating. It is often the case where only one side is operating. That one over there looks to be closed. Oh no, there it is open. This is a good situation. This is basically a walk-on type situation. If you get both rides or both sides going, you can see the guests coming in now. All these guests coming in are getting on a jellyfish, and then up it goes. It's kind of like a, Supreme Scream wannabe, I guess. Not gonna lie, the very first time I ever rode that attraction, I got scared to death. It can be scary. Store is Bayside Brews. That's where you can get a pretzel and a beer, or a Mitchie. And then I like to do that. I like to take my pretzel and beer and chill out underneath Silly Symphony Swings, which is flying right now as we speak. The swings are flying, but underneath there's a little, you can kind of walk around there, and there's benches and stuff you can sit on underneath. It's really nice. There they go. This is usually an easy attraction to get on. Right now it's a walk-on. Those guests going up the stairs are going to be on the next swing. What you're trying to avoid is the crowds out here. Basically, it's still not that bad. Even on its worst day, Silly Symphony is 20 minutes. As we keep going, Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind is our next attraction. This is was literally Flicks Flyers at Bugs Land. If you guys remember Bugs Land back in the day before Avengers Campus was a thing, they have they shipped it over here. They dropped it into this space, painted the buckets, or painted all that, and they called it Emotional Whirlwind. Basic kids spinner ride there. Again, another walk-on or virtual walk-on there. It's posted at 15, but what you're trying to avoid in this case is guests in those switchbacks down there in that space, but anything like it is right now where they're just in the covered area, easy peasy. This is a very slow day today here at DCA. Making me wish I was just going to the park right now instead of making a guided tour video about DCA, but I do love these videos also. I know I love sharing help with you guys. Let's keep going. And that brings us to basically Pixar Pier proper. The pier has begun, or ended depending on which side you come in from. The first attraction is the Pixar Pal Around, formerly the Mickey's Fun Wheel. And you've got two sides here. You've got a non-swinging side right there, and then the swinging side on the other side over there. So you choose if you want to be in one of the stationary gondolas or the guys that move around and slide. Very scary. Those can be very scary and often vomit-inducing for some who are of a light constitution like myself.
My daughter
You're welcome. Soon you'll hear, the guests in that one will start screaming a little bit. Great views. I ride Pixar Pal Around for the views, not necessarily for the scares or the fear, because the views are phenomenal. They're absolutely phenomenal, and you're up there for a good 10, 15 minutes, so it's very, very enjoyable. It's one of my favorite rides in spite of the fact that I'm afraid of heights, just because of how pleasant it is to be able to see things from a distance. I love that. If you're looking for discounts on this attraction, basically you're trying to make sure the queue is anywhere inside of that corner. Inside of that corner, any queue in that space, you're looking pretty good. You're going to be about 20, 25 minutes. I would say right now it's at that far corner down there. That's probably a 15-minute queue, maybe 17 on the high side. Meanwhile, for the swinging gondolas this side on the right, you're trying to stay out of this ramp if you can help it. You want to try to have it on that ramp or less, which obviously, again, it's a light day today, so we're seeing a lot of queues that are inside of that area of preference. You might say, well, there's twice as many guests here as there are there. Why is the wait time, similar? That's because they load two gondolas, one on the left and one on the far right, for every non-swinging gondola in the middle. Those two are swinging. That one is stationary. So every time they make a stop, they're loading from that side over there and from this side into swinging gondolas. And then the middle one, which is going around the back side, That is just one gondola. So you get, this is actually shorter. If you see two queues of the same amount of guests, like this one does actually, these two look similar. It looks like there's about the same amount of guests in that queue as there is in this one. You're going to be a much quicker, it will be much quicker to get to your vehicle in that queue. Across the way is Bing Bong's Sweet Stuff. Inside out themed treats and clothing, although they have, I mean, all kinds of stuff here, but this is where you would get your inside out theme. This is 70th. This is a new trend that's happening right now, where you create your own headband. But that'll change over time. But yeah, you got a lot of inside out theming here. This is green. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here to show you this guy. Bing Bong himself, the host. This is always a lot of fun. He'll say things from time to time, kind of like Mr. Potato Head over at Toy Story, which we'll be heading towards soon. And then you get some more treats over here. These are what they call memory refreshers. They're basically slushies, different combinations of flavor slushies, etc. And then they have a little treat cage, like you get on Main Street or on Buena Vista Street. So that's Bing Bong Sweet Stuff. Look at that one. When they get vertical like that, that's pretty hairy. And there goes the Incredicoaster. We're heading in that direction. On our right will be the Boardwalk Games. These are, boardwalk style games. They're kind of a shady deal. I don't particularly recommend doing these. The toys are okay, but they cost like $5 a game per person, and some of them are just next to impossible. Like, I think it's Heimlich's. You have to throw a beanbag into Heimlich's mouth, which is just terribly difficult, in my opinion. And I'm an athlete. Yeah, the water thing race, that's always fun. You can get yourself a Wally or Eve. And then if you want an automatic win, that's La Luna, Star Catcher. Basically, you catch a star, and if you catch one, you win a star. You get one of these. If you catch a certain, a higher value one, a rarer one, you can upgrade to some of the other plushes, but just playing gets you one of these. I say it's not a very good value. I pay attention to that kind of thing. Some people, they don't care. If you don't care, you don't care, whatever. But I mean, $5 per game per person, it get a little pricey if you try to do a couple of games, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, there's, the prices are kind of worth it, I guess. I don't know. It's the way it's Angry Dogs. They have two kinds of dogs. They've got the spicy all beef hot dog, and then what they call the slightly annoyed dog. The spicy one is spicy, and then the slightly annoyed one is actually just a regular hot dog. And that is Mr. Potato Head. He is our host here at Toy Story Midway Mania. Say hi.
Hurry, hurry, hurry! Right this way to Toy Story Midway Mania. Ride that's a game. It's a game that's a ride. Step right up and see what's inside.
Perhaps the second most popular attraction here at California Adventure. The second most competitive attraction behind Radiator Springs Races, which we haven't gotten to yet. Presently, it's at 45 minutes. It's actually kind of a bargain, typically. This is a very fun attraction. It hits all four quadrants for the whole family. Adults and kids can enjoy this. There's no height limit. Anybody, it's not a roller coaster of any kind. So it's definitely a very popular attraction for families. This queue that we're looking at now is, that's a go queue for me. I like this. It looks like it's not, obviously you don't want to see any guests here. You see guests here, that's bad news, and we've seen that from time to time. It's a slow day today, though. But that's a pretty good looking queue for me, especially when there's no lightning lane. There's nobody in the lightning lane queue except for those two guests right there. So this is you can see the movement. See that? See how the queue's moving like that? That's a good look, man. That's a good sign. That's a go. Two things you're trying to avoid when you get to Midway Mania is a big lightning lane queue and that right there of having a bunch of people in it. That's basically what you're looking for. Otherwise, expect to wait minimum 30-35 minutes for this guy, because it's, like I said, the second most popular attraction in the park, so you're gonna have to make some sort of concession. If you wanna go, you're gonna have to pay some kind of price. That is Jesse's Critter Carousel. When they rethemed Paradise Pier to Pixar Pier, this got rethemed from King Triton's Carousel to Jesse's Critter Carousel. This is an automatic walk-on. Basically, it's never more than one rotation, ever. Never more than one. Right now, it's just walking on. Those guests going in there are gonna be in the next rotation. But it is just a carousel. It's just basic as you're gonna get. I like those rides for me. I like being able to take it down a notch from time to time. I like slow, easy to do rides, which is something that Disney's very good at in giving us plenty of those options. Not everything has to be a roller coaster or an e-ticket. I like these easy to do rides. If you want an e-ticket, you go right next door. There you go with Jesse's Critter Carousel right there, and right next door is the Incredicoaster. That's happening about us right now. This is usually a very popular attraction most days. Right now it's posted at 30, which is a go for me. Even on a not so busy day, that's still a go. What you're looking to avoid here is guests in this queue right there, or even worse, out there on the actual boardwalk itself, on the pier. You see guests out here. That's going to be less than optimal. Yeah, I don't like to see that. But I will tell you this, even guests out here on those ropes is still a very doable situation. The Incredicoaster is very efficient. I'm backing up to show you these ropes. The Incredicoaster is very efficient because it's running two coasters at the same time. There's constantly coasters being loaded on the left and on the right. So you don't have to wait, like, let's say you go to Knott's Berry Farm. You have to wait. You have to wait for Jaguar to come back around, basically, for you to get on the next vehicle, which is just awful. But there's trains always on the track. There's usually 3 or 4 on the track, plus 2 in the station, almost always. Very efficient. So even if you are out here, you're still going to have maybe 30, 35 minutes. Matter of fact, it's posted 30 out there. It's not even that. This queue that we're looking at right now, that's probably going to be just 20 minutes. Once you get past, once you get past that and into what I call the risers, where everything just switches back and forth like that, and then you start going upstairs a little bit each time you go, 20 minutes. That back of that queue, that's 20 minutes to the vehicle. And one thing that I really enjoy here at Pixar Pier and at DCA, like I mentioned, I like to just stop and sort of soak in the aesthetic. This is a popular spot. This is no secret or anything like that. But watching the launch of Incredicoaster here is a lot of fun. You get to see varying reactions of the guests on the fear spectrum, like totally chill with it. They're totally cool, where others are terrified of what's about to happen. I'll show you. See if we can spot the cool guys. There's your cool chaps right there in the front row. They're ready to go. Everybody's ready to go. The middle's looking a little more scared, but they're set. No fear. Oh, sorry. Oh, there we go. This spot is often full of guests doing just what we're doing right now, just relaxing and watching the vehicles go by. Then you get a lovely view of the bay here from this side. It's the opposite side of where we were before. Over there by Little Mermaid, that's from the opposite side. One little spot that I like to go to for a different view on the launch is right here next to the Chicken Shack, whatever. What do they call this thing? I forget. I gotta talk about these in a minute. This is Poultry Palace. You know what I'm talking about that now. They have fried chicken here. You get like it's in a kids meal box or whatever. I don't know if they still do that. I think they do. But it's just basically chicken and chips. But right next door to that is Senior Buzz Churros. I like the Senior Buzz Churro because it's their standard churro. You can get a regular churro here, but then you can also get the spicy one, the Cinnamon Sugar Galaxy Churro. It's Red Hots. I don't know if they still make Red Hots today. I don't think they do. But if you're old like me, then you know Red Hots, what they taste like. That's basically what those are. It's a Red Hot churro. But anyway, on the other side of Poultry Palace, you're right, just before the launch into the tunnel. That's always a very scary part for me. So let's see these guys come by us here. I don't mind the launch so much. The launch is, I'm fine with that. Okay. A little delay here with the Incredicoaster. Those poor guests have been sitting there for 30, 45 seconds now. Something's wrong. Have we caught a breakdown mid-breakdown? Oh, no, they're backed up. Oh, here we go. I hear it now. That's the part that always gets me. It's that, and then it quickly dives down after that. Good times here on Pixar Pier. I'm a big fan now. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I wasn't always a fan of Pixar Pier because it was the opposite of Walt's Vision. Walt's Vision exists over at Disneyland. This is DCA. This is where people come to party. You know what I'm saying? We can get alcohol here. You can let yourself go. It's a whole different vibe here at DCA than it is at Disneyland. It's not about the reverence and the history and all that. It's about having a good time here on the pier. And I embrace that today, where I didn't as much back in the day. We shall ascend the pier, and there's a lot of other different viewing angles from here, if you can, depending on what you want to see of the bay. If you want to see the launches from a variety of angles, plus you've got just the bay itself, Pixar Pal around. You can see across the way. That's Lamplight Lounge, which we'll be covering in a second. That's a very popular dining spot. You get served there as well. I love Lamplight Lounge. Actually, it's an improvement over what they had there in the past. I'm very much a fan of Lamplight. We'll be going there in an upcoming episode very soon. Meanwhile, this queue coming into your frame now. Hey, how are you? Thank you. Is for Adorable Snowman, Frosted Treats. This is home of my favorite treat in the entire park, perhaps in both parks. I do love myself a citrus swirl type situation. They have here that blue and yellow one right there in the middle. That's the Paradise Pier Frosty Parfait, or I'm sorry, Pixar Pier. It's lemon soft serve with blueberry raspberry swirl, you know, the icy. It is absolute perfection, especially on a hot day when you mix the two with the lemon with the blueberry slushy thing. It's outstanding. I love it. It's one of my, well, it is probably my favorite treat in the entire park. And there again, it's Lamplight Lounge. It's actually kind of the back half. There's different seating areas here. You've got this outdoor area, which is not always open. Then you've got the upstairs bar right here. And you actually check in for those locations at this point right there. But if you want to get table service or sit at the bar downstairs, you need to go in through the main entrance right here. Not often can you walk in. You will have to wait here. You need a reservation or get on the standby list and wait. But that's what all these folks here are, just waiting for their opportunity to go down and have a meal at Lamplight Lounge, which is a one-of-a-kind experience, and I'll show you why. Table service can sometimes get you out there in the little peninsula, which is just fantastic, especially, you know, as the evening comes on, and especially if you're on the left as opposed to the right, because then you get sort of the accent of everything that's happening, the Incredicoaster and the Pixar Pier and all that. I've enjoyed many very memorable evenings here on that outdoor dining area. It's absolutely fantastic. The only thing is that you probably need a reservation. It's going to be very difficult to get there. It's a very competitive, in-demand place to eat. So you have to keep an eye, which means you have to kind of watch and hawk the available reservations for Lamplight. And then it's kind of pricey. You know, it does cost a little bit more than your average. But I mean, it's an experience that's singular to this park. Nothing like this at Disneyland either. Being able to have a meal posted out on the Rivers of America. Wouldn't that be cool? Imagine this is the Rivers of America, right? That's Tom Sawyer Island. You get out there on the island, and then they put a restaurant right there in the front, and then you could just sort of watch the oh my God, that's like the greatest idea of all time. Unfortunately, there's not enough space for them to do that, and I'm now blue skying, but that would be absolutely outstanding. They did kind of do, they had a dining location like that at the Tom Sawyer Island in Magic Kingdom, but it hadn't been open for years, and now they're closing the whole island altogether. So it's probably not a thing that people would actually enjoy, except for idiots and nerds like me. that we've arrived back to that junction point I was showing you guys earlier when we got to Little Mermaid, and then Grizzly River Run is on the other side. This is that sort of central spoke area, the hub, where you can go down to Paradise Garden that way. Oops, pardon me. You can go up to Pixar Pier that way, or hang a left towards San Francisco this way, or Cars Land, etc. around the way. This is the way into San Francisco, but we are, you know what, yeah, let's go in this way actually. San Francisco is a newly rethemed, this used to be Pacific Wharf. It was themed after the San Francisco Wharf. It is now San Francisco, trying to bring in the Big Hero 6 theme. And they've done, in my opinion, a tremendous job on adding a little bit more personality. And hi guys, thank you. Hi guys, how are you? They've done a really good job of basically making something out of nothing, where there was nothing here before. Pacific Wharf was just a place. They've made it a little bit more in Disney, a little bit more in experience. Inside an experience, I should say, that being San Francisco. And then a couple of the locations have gotten a new skin, although Cocina is just as it was before, Cocina Cucamonga. This is, again, Mexican food here. Very popular place here at Pixar, or San Francisco. Very popular, Cocina is. There's the Baymax meet and greet. Very popular here as well. There's always a queue, always a long wait to meet Baymax. He's another singular experience that you can get only here at DCA. And then we'll go on the other side. There's actually like 5, 6 locations here in this tiny little space, right? Actually, there's 7. Hey guys, how are you? I forgot, we walked right by the cerveceria. They serve just beer over there. Let me go walk by there real quick. By the way, it smells incredible here. It's very busy. This place is very busy, very popular. It's not an intimate dining experience. It is not. You're in a food court for sure. But still, it's wonderful. And there is the cerveceria that I was just talking about. They just serve beer and like 1 or 2 snacks that kind of rotate from time to time. But it's not meant to be like a dining location per se. It's mostly just beer. That's your dining, Cocina. And then across the way is Aunt Cass Cafe, and it's even smelling better as I approach. There's a sample of what you can get, mac and cheese bread bowl. Let's just pop in there real quick. It looks empty inside, but this is standby that I'm in right now. I'm getting in standby queue. And there you go. There's nobody in here, my goodness. Let's see if we can get a better look. Sourdough up there. But yeah, you'll get sandwiches here, the mac and cheese bread bowl, turkey pesto club, the chilled shrimp soba noodle salad, and then that's the kids' meal, turkey sandwich. This menu got a facelift when they rethemed this to San Francisco, for the better in my opinion. Right next door is the Lucky Fortune Cookery. What is that? That's our 3rd restaurant, 4th location total. And this is going to be your basic Chinese food. Well, actually it was. It's a little bit different now. Let me see if I can get in there. Yeah, like a chicken sandwich. I mean, there is still stuff like the pot stickers and teriyaki chicken. What is that? Honey walnut shrimp, yaki udon, and then the beef birria ramen. There's birria everywhere at Disneyland these days. That's no different here. And then on our way out, on our left is the Bodine Bakery Tour, which is actually not food. They give you a free little piece of sourdough, but it's just a look at backstage where they make the bread bowls, which I'll show you in a minute. And then on the right is the Ghirardelli, hot fudge sundaes. But if we keep going, actually, before we go in there, before we go into Bodine's, real quick, there's an exit out here that takes you along the parade corridor that sends you, if you turn right, back to Cars Land. There's actually a shortcut right here. If you turn right and then make a left, that'll take you also into Cars Land. There's a little walking path that goes through this section, and you're right in the middle of Route 66. We'll go into the Bodine Bakery Tour real quick. That's where they hand you. Oh, I'm good, thank you though. Oh no, thank you. But that's they'll give you the little free sample of bread there. And then you can watch them make the actual bread bowls. This is where they make the actual, he's got dough right there, and that thing, whatever that is, that's the mother dough, I guess. He's gonna cart it over, and they're gonna send it into this contraption, and you can sit here and watch bread go all the way through the process here. There's some bread in a little conveyor there. I don't know what that thing is doing, but it'll go through next, and they'll make the long bread molder there, and then the actual ovens to bake the bread freshly, as it were. And then when they're done, they hand them off to these guys, and they actually will do the, he's got a tray right there. They'll cut open the tops that they, looks like they already have. Those are cut, and then they're gonna bring in a new batch and cut open those. And they do that all right here. And then those go out to guests. Hi guys. Those go out to guests at Downcast Cafe, and actually anywhere in the park where they serve food in a bread bowl. That bread bowl was made right there at the Bodine Bakery. And that is the extent of San Francisco. Do be aware, lots of great food here, a lot of choices. It is packed, almost always packed. Kind of difficult to find a table here sometimes. You just kind of have to sort of, you know, act like a hawk and hover over tables, I guess, or something to that effect. But it's a wonderful place to eat. I love San Francisco. Come back out the way we entered, because I have more to show you on the other side there. We could have, see where that tree is down there. That's that lane that I was telling you about when we got to Bodine Bakery. That was that lane that could have dropped you or cut you right in to the rest of the parade quarter here at DCA, but I want to give you the full experience. All right. You know, I keep thinking I'm gonna go somewhere and like, oh no, there's another thing I have to show you. Like over here, the Sonoma Terrace. It's another dining location, definitely lesser known, because people tend to, I almost, you know, was gonna do the same thing. People tend to just stick to the corridor right here, and they just, you know, they're on their way to Cars Land or Avengers Campus or something like that, and they stick to this lane, not even realizing. But you can make a left right here, head up these steps, and there's a nice little dining area here. Competitive also, tables are hard to come by. Looks like they've added a bunch. This, oh my gosh, they've added a lot of tables out here. There used to be so many fewer tables. It was mostly just, you know, those tables there and the couches. But they've added a bunch there. But there's another place where you can get a pretzel here, and they got a bunch of beer and wine, and then occasional treats here. Aside from the pretzel, like that guy, what is this going to be? This is probably food and wine. That looks like the, oh, you can't really see it, the sirloin Gruyere, I think. That's a food and wine festival item. And then, next door is an actual table service location. This is the Wine Country Trattoria. I've been here maybe just once or twice, so I don't have a lot of experience dining here, just because it's not a place that I don't do a lot of table service dining. But we've just walked through the outdoor dining area. There's also indoor seating there as well, but that's the Wine Country Trattoria. And then now we are at where you can also buy a little bit more beer and wine here on the other side. That's all they serve there. And then this is the Magic Key Terrace. It's a restaurant up there that's for Magic Key holders only. Go up the stairs and you can dine over here in this little alfresco type dining area, and then that's covered like a regular restaurant. I am a fan of the Magic Key Terrace, although I don't go very often because it is kind of pricey like some of the other things you can do here. But it's a really delightful experience to be up there. You do it on a rare occasion. You got to be a Magic Key holder though, so it's hard. It's hard to become one these days. You got to get pretty lucky. Okay, so where are we at next? It looks like we've arrived at Cars Land. Cars Land is one of the premier destinations here at Disneyland, one of the most sought after locations for the whole family. And again, that's the reason why it's popular, because the whole family can enjoy all of the attractions here. There's 3 attractions total. That's Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. There's really not a lot of guidance to give here on this attraction. It's always just a go. If you ever feel like you want to ride Mater's, just get in the queue, because you won't ever have a wait more than 20 minutes or so. The only thing you want to look out for is maybe if they're running just one side. Maybe this side's closed and they're only doing that side. That'll double your wait time. But this is probably my, God, maybe my second favorite. I don't know. I really love Main Street Jamboree because of the booty slide, and it's been well documented, well known. How much fun I like to have on this attraction for that right there. A little whiplash action. Yeah, all right. I absolutely adore Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. Easy attraction to get into, easy attraction to enjoy, and the whole family can ride. I mentioned that little hidden path from Ghirardelli's. That's Ghirardelli's on the other side of those geodomes. You can see these guests walking in. They're taking that little path right there, and that cuts you right into Route 66. Sarge's Surplus Hut. Actually, we're gonna step in here real quick because they have a cool little feature that a lot of people don't know about, and that is a scale model, like you might find on a electric railroad that you might have in your home. It's a scale model of Cars Land. We are right there. Sarge's Surplus Hut, and they've got it going all the way down to Ramone's. There's Flo's. There's Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters, and then the fire department, and then out of frame, out of the picture here is Radiator Springs Racers. Next to the left is the Cozy Cone Motel. Not a motel, it's a dining location. Each cone represents a specialty, a food specialty. Looks like Mater is done with it. You can meet Mater and or Lightning McQueen here. We're getting ready to send him out. Mater, that is. Everybody here, please. Say goodbye to Mater. Okay. There you go, Mater. We're clear.
Come on by my Junkyard Jamboree.
All right. I love your Junkyard Jamboree, Mater. There he goes.
Hey everybody, if you feel like getting your dancing tires on, just roll on down to the junkyard.
All right, 4 cones, 5 cones. 5? Yeah, 5 cones. This one here is churros. It says so right there. Ice cream cones. That's soft serve. They have some delicious soft serve here. It's one of the most underrated treats that you'll find. The Con Queso location, which is food with cheese. And then concoctions here, and then finally popcorn, which is popcorn. They've got specialty flavors and regular popcorn. It used to be you would place your order right here and pick it up, and in mobile order on the right. Now you place your order right here at one general location. Place your order here for any of the 5 cones, and then they tell you which cone to go to pick it up. This is a new development. This happened in the past, 3 months or so. Show you Flo's V8 Cafe next, which is just chef's kiss good in terms of both the experience and the food. The food is good. I'm a fan of the Low and Slow Club, which we can talk about. But what I love about Flo's is that it's very much in universe, very well themed, and the diet, where you sit down and eat is actually just one of a kind. It's a singular experience that you can get here only at DCA. Let me show you. I mean, look at that. That's an amazing entrance to the location. That's the standby queue. I would recommend using mobile order here as often as possible. That standby queue is going to take about 15-20 minutes probably. It really does feel like you're in, a 1950s diner with the colors and the lights, tiles on the floor, everything here. They've done a really good job of putting you in the universe here, putting you in the 50s, which is going to be familiar for everybody else as well. Get the vinyl booths. Very competitive dining in the inside portion. I will say that. It is tough to get a table inside here. But once you do get inside, it's great. You got a view of Radiator Springs Racers right here, which is incredible. There go a couple vehicles right now. There they go. But it gets even better. You can get an even better view. They have outdoor seating as well. Tables everywhere. Much easier to get a table out here, although you are out in the elements, so if it's hot or rainy, you're kind of, stuck, but you get a fantastic view of Radiator Springs Racers, Ornament Valley, the Butte. The vehicle is screaming. That's the home stretch right there before they make the drift around the Butte, Cadillac Ridge. Fantastic, fantastic location here. It's a great way to kill an hour. I come here sometimes when I get lunch here. I'll eat for 10 minutes and then sit here and stare for 20 or 30. I'll just relax here for a long time. That's what's so great about Flo's V8 Cafe. It's it's one of those really great combinations, and again, it's for the whole family. They really nailed it in a lot of ways here at Cars Land. It's for the whole family. There's food here that the whole family like. Cheeseburgers. The Low and Slow Club is basically just a club sandwich. And then they've got amazing fried chicken here as well. So there's a little something for everybody, and great location. The kids love cars, they love seeing the track, and the adults can enjoy it too, especially if you're in the older generation and you might enjoy the music they play here. And then at the end of Route 66, we've got the Radiator Springs Fire Department, but that's not why we're here. That's where Stan has his plaque. Stan is basically the founder of Radiator Springs, and that's his commemorative statue. But if you turn to the right, there's your entrance to Radiator Springs Racers. And this is, probably the most competitive attraction you're going to find anywhere in the park, be that DCA or Disneyland. This place is usually always nuts. Right now it's posted 55, and 55 is a discount. Now there are a lot of options. Matter of fact, I would probably be better off just referring you to our how to hack the Radiator Springs Racers queue rather than try to explain it all here, because it's a whole video's worth of advice and tips and analysis on how to beat this queue. Very worthwhile for you. We'll put a link in the description. Definitely look up that video. And I will say just a couple quick pointers. The posted wait time is usually pretty accurate. If you see standby, you're entering standby on this side right here. If you see standby in this queue where I'm standing now, that's not a good sign. You want standby to be further up towards the second bridge. You see guests out here in this space, you're looking at least an hour, more than an hour for sure. This is bad space right here. When we look at these entrance lanes that go into the queue, there's 3 of them. There's the outside one, where the guest in the white shirt is, that's single rider. The inside one is lightning lane. And then the queue down there underneath the bridge in the shade, that's the standby queue that's coming up from this direction. If you're going to go single rider, which is I highly recommend as often as possible, you want to see as little of the back of the queue as possible. You want that. These guests are in good shape. I can't even find. I'm trying to look down there. I can't even see the back of the queue, which is great. They may have just stopped now. That's a pretty good spot. Where that queue stopped is maybe 15 or 20 minutes. So there's that. And also, you don't want to see lightning lane. You don't want to see guests in the middle row. You don't want to see the back of that queue anywhere in your eyesight. You want that queue to be long gone and out of your sight. There are times, though, when it gets crazy, when it does take up all that queue, and they come out here into the entrance and out here into the streets onto Route 66. And absolutely, definitely, if you see a queue out here, 100% a no-go. 100% stay away. Go get on Maters. Go get on Maters Junkyard Jamboree and just give it a minute. Give them some time to clear that queue out and let that queue scare everybody, and then you come in a little bit later when people have been staying away, and you'll get yourself a little bit of a discount. Not a lot, but a little bit. And then across the way from Radiator Springs Racers is Luigi's Casa della Tires, Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters. This is a fun little attraction. Again, one for the whole family. There's a couple visuals you can take here. It's a really fun queue. You don't want to see any guests, though, in this part of the queue. You want to see it inside that threshold right there. You want to see those guests continuing to go through. Hey, guys. You don't want to see the back of the queue out here into this space. That's usually going to mean a 30 or 40-minute wait. Anything inside that threshold right there, and you're going to be under 20 minutes. It's been kind of an interesting day today in that regard because it's pretty slow. Just about every queue we've looked at has been less than what you might expect. So hopefully I'm not prejudicing your opinions of what is a normal queue. These queues that we're seeing today in this video are lighter than they normally are. And there is those Rollicking Roasters, another attraction that the whole family can enjoy. Cars Land is great at that. The queue is nothing. I was looking at this just a second ago. There's nobody in the queue. These guys, it's 2 rotations, 10 minutes, that queue. I love this attraction for the theming. I'm not crazy about the way it just kind of moves people around a little bit like that, but I do love the setting and the environment here. And that actually does it for Cars Land. Now, there's 2 ways out of this situation, 2 ways out of this part of the park, out of this land. Hi guys, you can go right, which is actually a shortcut to Avengers Campus. If you have designs to go to Avengers Campus, you don't have to enter the front. That's actually like the rear entrance to Avengers. But I'm gonna go left and go back the way we came, because again, I am endeavoring to give you guys the full experience. So we'll go back out Cars Land, out via Route 66, which is right here. So leaving Cars Land, back out onto the parade corridor, make a right, and a quick ride into Avengers Campus. And that sound you hear was Spider-Man had just launched himself out of that red building and into the gray building there. They do a little stunt show where a stunt robot flies through the air there. We just missed it, but he's gonna come popping out of here on stage in a second. We might be too early. I have to keep moving because all these folks are standing here watching. We can't pass through, but he would hop out there. Maybe not, I don't know. Where'd he go? No Spider-Man. He didn't pop out like I expected. That's unfortunate. It happens. The Spider-Man show is not what it used to be. The show isn't as big. They stopped all the little parkour stuff that he does up there. They don't do that anymore. All they do is just send the robot flying over there, and then he doesn't go down the side of the building like he used to with his little webs and stuff. And I guess apparently sometimes he doesn't even come out and say hi to guests. It used to be that he would do all those things every show. With that, we have found ourselves further into Avengers Campus. Web Suppliers is the Spider-Man themed gift shop where you can buy those little spider bots and your gear that you can use to improve your experience at the Spider-Man ride, Web Slingers, which is coming up. It looks really dead right here. This is unusually light, I have to say, as if the attraction might be closed even. But there's guests in there. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it is. Web Slingers is a very difficult queue to manage, difficult queue to analyze. I'm going to do my best real quick in short order. But you can break this up into sections. We've just entered the queue, which is posted at 45 minutes. There's this section. That's the main. That's just before you get into the pre-show. That's the last section. And then there's the section behind those blue walls, which are sometimes used, sometimes not. It's hard to tell. You have to kind of watch the guests, see if they make a right turn to go behind the walls or make a left turn and join this queue. It looks like they're not using that, so it says 45, but it's not. This is not even 45. That's probably closer to 30, 25 minutes maybe. But what you want to do is basically try to eliminate sections. Are they going in here? Are they using this? And then compare that to what's posted, and then also take into account what's happening here at Lightning Lane, which is this case, that's a good sized Lightning Lane queue. If you're analyzing that, you want to see one a little bit lighter, because that's basically what they do is they bring in, like, I don't know what the number is, 40 or 50 guests into the pre-show room to see Spidey. So they'll bring in 40 or 50 guests, and so they'll empty Lightning Lane queue for however many there were. Let's say there's 25. That makes 25 more spots available for standby, right? But if there's 40 over here, then that leaves basically 10 for standby. If my assumptions are correct, and they basically, they haven't stopped letting guests in. They're just shipping everybody, including the guests that walked into the queue. As I started talking, those guests are going in also. And they might hold back a few, maybe 5 or 10 or whatever. I've seen it where they let in 5 guests right here for standby. But so how busy that is will affect how many guests come in here on this side into the pre-show. And I did a very rough and shoddy job at explaining that queue, I think. That's definitely one that where they may require further analysis, like a whole video dedicated to itself. So I guess stay tuned for that. But that's a tough one. But just try to, like I said, just try to see if you can visualize blocks of queues and see if they're full. And if that block is used or not, that kind of gives you an idea of whether or not you're looking at the right kind of queue for you. And we're out now in the main square of Avengers Campus. This is where you typically find your characters roaming about. There's Ant-Man over there. And it looks like you've got some characters meeting guests in the space that was formerly the Doctor Strange show. Yeah, they've got Loki back there. But that used to be a Doctor Strange show. They canceled that. Nothing's happening there. They also just canceled the show that used to happen up here on that catwalk up there, the Avengers Assemble show. That doesn't happen anymore. I haven't seen the Dora Milaje here in a while. They haven't said anything official, but I can't remember the last time I saw the Dora Milaje doing their business out here. So there's that. They really are just thinning things out at Avengers Campus. Pim Test Kitchen. I'm laughing because it would be very easy for me to go off right now, but this is a different kind of video. This is a guided tour, so I don't, that's a conversation for another day. Pim Test Kitchen is quite great. They have a really fun menu, and it changes often. They have a couple staples like the giant pretzel. It's dang near that big, by the way. Yeah, there's one right there. Somebody bought that's a Bavarian style pretzel. It's enormous. The joke here is that the food here has been either shrunken or enlarged because Ant-Man can throw those things and make everything big. So they start out like that, right, and they wind up like that. That's kind of the joke. There's the chicken, the subatomic chicken sandwich, which is a giant piece of chicken on a tiny little bun. And then this is new, the pepper particle pasta. I just had that the other day. That's pretty good. But the food here is a lot of fun. The drinks here are a lot of fun. They got a variety of different kinds of beers here that you can try and seasonal drinks. I'm a big fan of Pim Test Kitchen. And then it is serve yourself here. They've got these soda fountains here. And then if we head out this door, we are now in the Pim Tasting Labs. This is a bar. This is a bar, an outdoor bar here in Avengers Campus. I mean, you can bring your food out here and eat if you want, obviously. But you can get a variety of, mixed drinks and beers on tap here. It's really, really fun, really, really good. They even have this kind where it looks like I guess it is filling the beer up from the bottom. I don't see if they're doing any now, but they have these cups with a hole in the bottom, and they put it on the thing. The beer comes up from the bottom. It's kind of fun. Fun food, fun drinks. The drinks are obviously, like anything else here at Disneyland, a little pricey. I think the minimum you're going to spend on a beer here is $13. So that's Avengers Campus. 2 ways in, 2 ways out. We keep going this way. There's Mission Breakout on the right. That is the former Tower of Terror. It's a drop attraction. You take an elevator up, and then it's kind of like Supreme Scream at Knott's or something like that. You go to the top, and then they drop you real fast. It's a gravity thing, right? It's really scary. It's vomit-inducing also. This is a tough attraction to crack. I bet you before I get into that, though, I said 2 ways in, 2 ways out. We can leave Avengers Campus down that road into the parade corridor, turn left or turn right. There's also this way here. This takes you to Hollywood Backlot. Matter of fact, I should show you the other way from Cars Land. We need to go back into the middle of the land, the middle of Avengers Campus, where the courtyard where we saw Ant-Man. And there you see that little path right there. That's that path that I said we could have taken from Luigi's. You can follow that to go to Cars Land. On the other side where you see those lights are and everything, that's Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters. So if you wanted, you could go from Cars Land, Luigi's, you could cut through here into Avengers Campus, then make a right over there towards Mission Breakout, and then turn left, and that'll take you to Hollywood Backlot. That's like a very quick shortcut to Hollywood Backlot, and vice versa. If you're at the Hollywood Backlot and you want to get to Cars Land, that's how you do it. You come through the Backlot, backside of Avengers Campus, follow that path, and then go down that direction towards Cars Land. Iron Man. He's fine. That's a great meet and greet. Meanwhile, back to Mission Breakout. Very difficult attraction to sort of analyze, and there's no shortcuts basically. The only thing I would suggest is watching the elevators up here and see how many. There's 3. 1, 2, 3. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. If you see all 3 going, it takes about 3 minutes for them to cycle all 3 elevators. If you see all 3, that's good for you. If you see 2, that's not as good. Right now they're running just 2 out of 3, so it's making them wait a little bit longer. If you see one,
Want some water?
leave, exit. Otherwise, it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tough to know if it's a good opportunity or not to go to Mission Breakout. Sometimes you just have to choose and just go with it. Just get in the queue and hope for the best. But one visual that I can give you is whether or not there's guests out here in this little bonus section. When they got the ropes up and they got guests in this queue, that's not a good thing, obviously. Oh, hi, thank you. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Yeah, you want to see guests just in this. You don't want to see it coming out of this gate and into this section out here. That's actually a pretty healthy queue though inside, so that's probably the 45 minutes that it says it is. As I mentioned, we can go back that way out to the parade quarter to get into our next land, but I am going to take the shortcut in this case. Once we pass by these bricks right here and get into the red bricks, we have now entered Hollywood. Even though it still sounds like Avengers Campus behind us. We are technically on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, and very near to the end of our report here. So we've got just this one space, Hollywood Land in the backlot. In frame there is the Hyperion Theater. It is vacant, empty. That is an actual attraction. That big blue building with the sky on it, that's actually a theater. That is the Hyperion Theater. It is vacant, empty, and no shows are being shown there, nor do I expect there ever to be again. This location is destined to be barren for a while and then probably eventually destroyed and something else will be built here. Just putting that out there. Disney, thank you. We're gonna head down this little path here to the backside of the Hollywood backlot. Now I'm going to show you first one of my secret weapons. This is a place that nobody thinks about or talks about, gets overlooked when it comes to dining here. DCA, I probably should have said this 100 years ago in this video, but DCA is known for its food. That's one of the things it does very, very well is its food. And one place that gets overlooked on that is this dinky little food truck. This is the studio catering truck, and they usually serve just one or two items here. Right now, they're serving the Italian-inspired burrito or the salsa verde chicharron tacos. I had these recently. They are outstanding. The food here is varied and creative and almost never misses. I can't remember the last time I've had a not good experience at the studio catering truck, and they're always doing something seasonal. Anytime there's a festival going on, food and wine festival like today, or if there's a holiday or something, awesome. Had those chicharron tacos. They were very, very good. Across the way is the Hollywood Lounge. That's where you get your mixed drinks again, more beer, more mixed drinks, more micheladas. And then the only ride that they have here at the backlot is Mike and Sully's To the Rescue for Monsters Inc. Right now it's posted at 30 minutes. This is always a very competitive ride. I don't know what the reason is. I still have not been able to figure out, but Lightning Lane here is always just super packed. Lightning Lane is always packed here, and it ruins the standby experience. This is a very deep queue. You don't see Lightning Lane like this at many attractions, even at Mission Breakout or Goofy Sky School, or it's just incredibly long, almost always. So as much as possible, when you come here, you kind of get into the queue to do any kind of recon. You want to see as little as possible here in this part of queue in Lightning Lane. Hi guys. And then as for standby, it's a question of how many planters are in play. And so there's 1, 2, 3 that are using 3 of them so far. Then you have 4, 5, and 6 in the back. It is often the case that this entire queue is full. So even though we're seeing a very deep Lightning Lane queue, half of the standby is empty, which is a good sign. It might be inclined to get into this one. However, it's probably going to grow a little bit while they serve all those Lightning Lane guests. And if Lightning Lane keeps coming in, they're going to keep serving this Lightning Lane. So this is a tough one. This is a tough one to beat. I hardly ever find a bargain here. Again, just like some of the others, sometimes you just have to make up your mind and go for it. You can see they shipped almost that entire queue. All these guests that are roaming in here now just came in. So that whole length of Lightning Lane, they all just got sent into the building before standby. A fun little hack though is something called Buddy Pass. You can ask a cast member up front. A lot of times they're out here actually recruiting people to use Buddy Pass. And it's kind of like single rider, but you can actually do it with 2 people. they'll just ask the cast member about it, and they'll give you a little yellow piece of paper, and you actually get in through the exit. There's a queue of it right here. That's the Buddy Pass queue right there, and where they're going into that door right there, the other side of that is the loading area, and they'll fit guests into the last vehicle. It's an easy way. It's a great way to save up, 20, 30 minutes off the Monsters Inc. queue. But I think it has to be 2 or less. You can't have 3 people in your group. Right now they're doing a show here on the stage here at the Backlot, but this is for food and wine. They don't normally do shows here, and if they do, usually it's like a recital, maybe an Imagination Campus thing, or a band, or a dance group, or something like that, but they don't do proper Disney shows here anymore. Let's leave the Backlot. We got a few more things to check out. I'm going to take you across the street first to the animation building. We'll get out here onto Hollywood Boulevard. This is, the old lane. The red car trolley would operate up and down Hollywood Boulevard here, and you would go that way towards the exit to get out of there. Carthay Circle's at the end of that street, the beginning of our day today. But I want to take you into the animation building because this is a place where people go to cool off or just to sit down and relax. Sometimes they actually go in there to do some of the attractions that happen inside, but for many it's just a place to relax. Right now they've got, you can get a photo with Anna and Elsa. There's Turtle Talk with Crush and the Sorcerer's Workshop, as well as Animation Academy, where they teach you how to draw. These shows are in a varying state of operation right now. I think Turtle Talk is still open. Yeah, Turtle Talk on the right, and that's where they do the thing where Crush is on a monitor, but you're talking to him. They've got a guy, back there doing an Crush impersonation, and it's pretty great. That's Turtle Talk with Crush. This would normally be the way to the Sorcerer's Workshop. You would go down that ramp and into the building back there, but this attraction, is it open? No, it is still open. It is open right now, but they're going to be closing Sorcerer's Workshop here in a little bit. But that's like a, well, you know what? I'll show you. Hi. Quiet little ramp on the way. I don't know how to describe this, which is why I'm taking you down here, because I'm not sure. It kind of shows you how animation is done. So they have a varying array of animation modes. So in this first one right here, you get this long slip of paper and you draw scenes. This is an example of, you draw small ears and they get a little bit bigger and they grow and grow. It's actually a balloon. The balloon goes up and then it comes down, right? You draw that just like they have it here on that piece of paper. And then you put it in the machine and you spin it around and it's animated, and then you see the ears kind of, it's pretty neat. And then this is one where they put an image on 2 sides. You've got the Cheshire Cat and then him grinning and disappearing and not, right? So if you spin that really quick, it shows him coming in and out of focus. And then a very similar deal here with this wheel. You spin it like that, and then I don't know if you guys can see that. It creates an animated image for you. And it used to be that this was Beast's Library. They closed that a while back, and now it's Imagination Campus. It's closed to guests. So that's the end of your experience down here at Sorcerer's Workshop. At the end of this ramp on our way out again is the character close-up for Anna and Elsa. That's where you actually meet Anna and Elsa. There's a character meet and greet around. You go inside, you go around the backside, and they're inside that circular space. There's usually a fairly healthy queue here for that. This is not too bad though. That's only maybe 4 groups. And then the last, the last is the Animation Academy, which I mentioned before. There's a little pen set up for that. They bring these, it's a giant stadium auditorium style, like you might have at a college course, and they teach you how to draw. So it's not a queue per se, it's just, they bring in a group of 100, 150 people and then they teach you how to draw. And then the last thing that I mentioned, something that is not on the app as far as the thing to do, but it's to just come in here, sit down, relax, enjoy the art that they're playing here, and sit on one of these couches. And back on Hollywood Boulevard for our last two stops of the afternoon. That's award winners. Quick service dining there. That's hot dogs basically. And they have an interesting take on hot dogs. They do a little bit different with the bun, and then they get a little weird, a little crazy, a little creative with the hot dogs. It's not just a plain hot dog, but for example, let's see. Well, you can't get just a plain all beef hot dog, but they've got the Uptown City dog, which is, I believe, the chili one. Bacon Street dog, which has got a variety of stuff on there. Let's see what Bacon Street dog is. Red pepper ketchup, topped with grilled onions, bell peppers, and crispy bacon crumbles. And then the Philly dog, that's plant-based. That's a little bit too weird for me. I've tried that, it wasn't great. But I do love the bun. It's almost like they took a piece of Texas toast, cut it in half, and put a hot dog in the middle of it. it's a different take. And then right next door, actually, hey, Ariel, is Mickey's PhilharMagic. Hard to see with the sun out here. But this is a show in a theater. This used to be the home of Muppet Vision. They closed Muppet Vision because Disney has no idea what they're doing with the Muppets, and they replaced it with Mickey's PhilharMagic. And it's, it's a film basically. And you come in here and you go into the theater, you get some glasses, 3D glasses, and you watch the show. It's all right. I haven't seen this show in 5 years probably. I wasn't that impressed. It's kind of like, because there's a better version at Walt Disney World. It's okay. I don't. Hey, how are you? Hey guys. I don't particularly care for those kinds of shows. Maybe you might, but and if you do, then because people speak very highly of the PhilharMagic that's in Hollywood or Hollywood Studios in Magic Kingdom or Walt Disney World. I would have rather had Muppet Vision, and I cannot get center. And that leaves Disney Junior to our left here, but I can't really talk about it because it's behind scrim and scaffold right now. That's because they're redoing this show. They're going to replace the current Disney show was Mickey's Roadsters Racers, and they're going to put in a new show themed to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, the classic Mickey Mouse Clubhouse show. So that's coming eventually, probably in a month or two, and that's basically the extent of our trip around California Adventure. As we keep walking this path, you'll see that we're back at the Carthays Fountain, the Carthays Circle. We make a right turn from here. We're heading back down Buena Vista Street. Looks like the fountain's on. And here, once more, you're at the center of the park again, and you can make your choice. You're back at the hub. Back up the parade corridor, head towards Avengers Campus, Cars Land, and Pixar Pier. Go that way for Grizzly Peak. Turn around and head back up to Hollywood Backlot. Or if you're looking to exit and go to Disneyland, perhaps, then you head back up Buena Vista Street, which is what I'm going to do on our way out of here. And I want to thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't caught our other, we did two of these for Disneyland. We have a guided tour that's kind of like an expert's version. It's more queue-based and how to beat the queues, and then a beginner's tour through Disneyland. We have two of those. You can check those out. And then thanks for watching, guys. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Respect.